Looks like most of the gang is here, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my camera is still unfound. So until I have a new laptop, I will try to watch your body language and not interrupt folks because you can't see when I'm about to speak. So maybe I'll use the hand raise. In any case, thanks for coming, everybody. And why don't we get started? And as Tim Baker reminded me at the last meeting, I believe there's the minutes to be approved.
Right. So I'll just start it off, here a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the September 30th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Well, actually move it first, Jason.
Oh, that wasn't the motion?
Yeah. All right.
I'll make a
Jason
motion
moved
to
it.
approve the
Is there a
meeting.
second?
And what was the date?
September 30th.
September 30th.
All right. Do I have a second? Aaron or Chrissy?
Second.
All right.
Thanks.
All in favor of the meetings minutes, raise your hand. Good enough. They're all approved. All right. So the next is the fit test update.
Yes, so we are working on compiling the information that we got from the survey. We had over 275 responses, which was really good. So what we're doing right now is going through everything, basically, putting what the options were, circling the one that was favored, and if there was a difference between staff versus students, we're highlighting that as well. So we're hoping to have that buttoned up by the end of this week or beginning of next week to share.
Oh, you're not going to have that before our meeting.
It's going to be very difficult to get it done before the meeting.
I think it'd be good to just, say that the participation was incredible. I think we struggled to get some surveys done early in the project when it came to weighing in on environmental graphic design. So, I think maybe would it be helpful then, Joe, for Lauren, just to say how the survey data is used? Because I think what Lauren is indicating is, making sure you sort through who voted for what, because certainly as we discussed when we were in the room last week, putting more emphasis on student input for student chairs and teacher input for teacher chairs and all of that.
Well, is the results of the survey going to affect the list?
It will not affect the list because every option for student chair, task chair falls within the budget number. So we're not, if we said the students preferred X chair, it's not as though it's increasing our overall budget number because we were only showing things that fit within the number that's shown in the current budget.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? So what will you have available for us Thursday night?
If so I can look at what our preliminary kind of results are and see, or if there's things we want to highlight, like if we wanted to say the student chairs and desks, we could certainly do that. I just think it might be challenging for us to get every piece of information kind of sifted through to have pulled together into a presentation format for the meeting.
I would think if there could be a focus on maybe the student, even though I don't know if that was the greatest number of respondents, but
It seems like it was actually.
okay.
Just the students and the students it gave kind of the most responses. So I mean, alternately, Joe, we can get as much as we can done before the meeting. I don't know how important it is for folks to have it in their hands prior to the meeting. But we can make every effort to get it, as much as possible.
Well, I think people would be interested because, I mean, everybody in the committee went there
Yeah,
and did their own survey and did their own, it was very, when I was there, everybody was, figuring it all out. I think
yeah.
I think everybody would would be more comfortable knowing that this is some of the results. I don't know how everybody else feels. Aaron, Chrissy, Jason.
So I think, I mean, in terms of like schedule and next steps, my understanding is like the financial budget conversation is kind of the priority while we finalize the selections, right, Joe? At this
Yeah.
time, like we added this meeting, I think really just to focus on cost and budget and making sure that we have the vote of the committee to move forward with pricing. But to your point,
Okay.
we need all the selections in order to price.
But aren't we, so once we get all the selections, there's still like another phase of actually locking and confirming everything in, right, Lauren?
Yeah, so basically, what we normally do is we have a meeting with leadership, or if it's this team, and we basically walk through all of the spaces and show the furniture that was selected for those spaces. And then as long as everyone's good with that, then the next step is then selecting the finishes for all of that as well. So that information will definitely be shared across so that everyone's aware of kind of what the pieces are that are selected for the building will be.
Okay, so I think as long as we have assurance that we're still within the same budget, regardless of, what the students prefer versus the teachers, then I think we should be okay to have that information follow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on the update?
Think we just then can move
All
to the
right.
next item, budget.
All right. Before we start, Helen, did you
Yeah.
send it out, the list this
Uh,
morning?
I just
Yes.
sent it, Joe, I just sent it out to
Okay.
everyone.
So, yeah, maybe we can describe what that is. So, Joe had requested that, of course, we gave you a 38-page full budget, including a summary memo, the comparison budget from comparing schematic design to early DD, design development, final budget, which had attached to it a multi-page equipment list, which lists every single piece of equipment that was requested, and nested in that multi-page PDF were the priorities for each and every item. And what Stafira had done previously was to summarize all of the items that received a 2 or lower in terms of priority, offering that as a potential value engineering thing that could be elected should the committee want to proceed in that manner. And so rather than making you pick all of those items out, Joe had requested that they be separated, which Lauren kindly provided to us this morning and sent it over to Tim for distribution. So that is what that latest PDF indicated. It's not new information, it's extracted information, just showing which things were deemed not the highest priority or not a priority one. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that number is decreased because I'm sorry, Tim O'Brien, I'm going to pin this on you, but we realized, and we're glad we did realize, that I think it was your burnisher or some piece of equipment.
Yeah.
I think you had a 2 next to, and when we talked to you, you said, no, that wasn't right. So we corrected that. So the potential savings, and again, this is not exhaustive, and going back to everyone and saying, do this again and take a closer look. And this was, honor system asking nicely to all teachers and who were tasked with making the equipment lists to prioritize things.
Right. So
Yeah,
you
and
will
it came
note
down,
that.
originally it
sorry.
was 310,000. And with that deduction, it came to 276,000.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And then you'll note on there as well that there's, under some of those categories, it's listing a 0 as the cost savings, and that is because, everyone they put number one
Right.
for everything, or there was no category. So just keep that in mind too. So as Helen mentioned, there could be the potential for more cost savings if we went back to everyone and asked them to reassess and give us some more priorities.
I have another question, and this has to do with something that just came up. It appears that someone down in Washington DC has decided to put tariffs on furniture.
Yeah.
I won't mention any names, nor any descriptions. Uh, Obviously, that is a concern for me, and I'm sure for everyone.
Mm.
And what I read, no, I guess in the beginning it's upholstered furniture, but but there's lumber and there's other things too, I think.
Yeah.
And it's anywhere from 25 to 30%,
Right.
which is a huge number if we're looking at what we're looking at. If it includes more than just upholstered furniture, and it also includes wood and things like that. So I'm very worried about that. I'm going straight out the bat.
Yeah,
That is a
I
huge
definitely,
concern.
yeah, I mean, we have been grappling with how to deal with this since basically these conversations of tariffs started being thrown around. I will say that one of the good things is that the majority of the pieces that we're showing for student furniture, which, desks, chairs, those types of things are from KI, who is manufactured in the US. We will see some tariffs associated with steel. Much of the steel that goes into furniture is not produced in the United States, but we have seen those tariff amounts. I can't remember if I spoke about this with this group or not, but we had gotten some pricing back from another project, a public project. It was a library, not a school, but one of the dealers actually listed the tariff surcharges within their pricing that we saw, and it was actually in the range of about 3 to 5%. And that is what we're probably seeing as kind of the steel coming from overseas, those types of things. In terms of the upholstered pieces, it's a very small portion of kind of what we are carrying. And actually the chairs that we're showing that are upholstered for the guest chairs within the offices are again a US based company. One of them is actually a Massachusetts based company. So we have quite and we can quantify it if that's helpful, but the majority of what we're talking about is actually being produced within the United States. We do have a couple pieces like the Kielhauer pieces, a couple of the Davis pieces. Those are actually coming from Canada, so there will be some tariff surcharges that we'll see with those. But as I mentioned, what we actually have been seeing is more in the 3 to 5% range versus that really large 25 to 30% range.
Right up in the New York Times, when I was reading the thing, it talked about the North Carolina furniture manufacturer who was talking about
Huge
raising their
production
prices
in
5 to
Michigan and
10%.
North Carolina. Yeah, so we're
Raising it.
lucky in that regard.
Yeah, but
Alternately,
they were saying no matter what, they were still thinking of raising their prices 5 to 10%. So I
keeping that
mean
in mind, all of the product that we're purchasing is part of either the collaborative procurement program with the MSBA or the MHEC and state contract. These are pre-negotiated contracts, so they cannot just pass along a tariff surcharge to all of us. If they wanted to do so, they would actually have to go to the MSBA, MHEC, they would have to say, we're looking to change our contract to add these surcharges to it, and then add those on top of that. So the new contracts have recently come out, so we're actually reviewing them now to see if there has been impacts to the discounting that we've seen to apply for that. So it's kind of timely that we have this discussion. So we literally just they just came out like last Friday.
So when are these things going to be purchased?
So we are targeting the beginning of next year, February, in terms of purchase orders hitting the street.
But I
Okay.
think it might, okay, go.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Helen.
I was going to say it might be helpful to step through the process again. So I think it's useful to remember, and I think Lauren talked about this at the last meeting, especially with respect to the equipment, which obviously is where we've seen a huge jump in
But-
costs overall, is that when we ask the PBC on Thursday to approve a number, which is I think where we're headed, is there is still a relief valve in that we are authorizing Stafura to keep going and getting the letters and all of the documentation for procurement pulled together. I think the furniture is probably still the highest priority. The equipment pricing will also be obtained, and if we see that we're running into trouble, Lauren had indicated, and correct me if I'm wrong, at the last meeting, that you can opt not to not to purchase certain pieces of equipment if it looks like we are getting into a trouble zone. Of course, that's not fun, but it might also be worth, setting people's minds to, taking that next pass potentially if needed. And we want to do this obviously through you, Amy and Tim, is, we need you to take your list and we need a reduction by X% or something to that effect.
Another question I have is it possible that we do with what we're doing with some of the other things that are coming up, such as the lighting at the Burnett Field? We're going to do it if we have money left over. To take that priority, anything that's not priority one, and to do it on a sort of what if we have the money, we'll do it. I mean, because it's a shame you guys didn't see the list, the 276,000. I thought it had gone out this morning. I mean, some of these.
I agree with that. I think one other question, just when we're looking at opportunities to find any costs or bring costs down. So you put together your specifications, you go to bid. Is there any buyout opportunities? Like, how much movement are we anticipating and how many opportunities do we have to bring that cost down even further? Is there an opportunity to spec something that's a little lower in cost?
Normally we don't see so I will excuse me, I will say nothing that we're carrying is something that we would see that is atypical for a school to be carrying, including the lounge pieces. And what we find is that it's not enough to say we're going to swap chair A for chair B to see the kinds of deductions that folks are looking for. It usually has to be something like we're going from 600 chairs to 200 chairs, or we're completely removing lecterns altogether, where we're totally cutting out a section of something in order to see significant cost reductions. There are certainly times where somebody has asked for, a more a much higher cost stack chair, for example, and we swap it to something lower, and that can realize cost savings, but it's usually having to really cut things out of the budget altogether to recognize and realize those cost savings. So it's certainly, again, something we can explore if we need to. It's something we can do when we get pricing back. That's usually the opportune time to do it, because to make these assumptions now, and then when you get pricing back, you might see that, things landed better than we were anticipating, that, something worked out and we didn't have those 25% tariffs or whatever it might be. So usually what we would do is at the time where we've seen pricing say, okay, this came back much higher than anticipated, and we're going to ask the dealers to provide an alternate that kind of fits within the spec.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we have Lynn and Helen on the line who do this more often than us. What do you see as potential opportunities for us to either bring some of the costs down or add a little bit more of like a phasing procurement strategy? I think we're all having a hard time because we're so over budget on this line item. Right? Like this, we're all obviously struggling to commit to it, but at the same time, we do really have some healthy contingencies. So I think it's like, from my perspective, I think a lot of work has been put into this, but I think at the end of the day, we're kind of given a number and there's no other option other than saying, yes, go ahead and approve it. You know, like I mentioned last time, we want to be able to give the students and the administrative staff and the teachers everything that they want, right? It would be nice to have a bit of a path to get us there with feeling comfortable being so over budget.
I want to first start out saying that at the time that this budget was put together, prices have changed drastically since then, and MSBA has has recognized that as well, and it has added more reimbursement for FF&E per student on a per student basis. Unfortunately, because we had already signed our project funding agreement, we can't take advantage of that. But the thing is that, will we ever VE back to budget? I don't think the school could do that because we wouldn't have the furnishings that we needed to be in the new school if we tried to get all the way back to budget. I think that maybe you have to consider things that are priority 1 and 2 and 3. Maybe it's 4 and 5 that the only ones that you can realistically take out of the equation in order to have a functional school.
There weren't many of those.
No.
Yeah, that's the problem, I guess. But I think that we have to realize going into this that we have to supplement this budget in order to be able to fit out the school the way that it should be fit out. Unless there is some opportunity to reuse from one to the other, but that's always very difficult in that it's a brand new school and you're mixing new and old furniture, and sometimes it works, but oftentimes it's a big eyesore. But
Well, Lynn, as I said, it's a shame that people didn't have a chance to look at this list that I got. Because out of the 276,000, about 50,000 of it is band instruments.
Joe, would you like me to pull it up so we can take a look?
It's 5 pages long, so it's pretty long.
I know.
I had hoped that it had gone out this morning so people could have
I
a
just
chance to
looked
look
at it. I just looked at it and I agree, Joe. So, I mean, I liked the point that Chrissy made earlier. Can we hold off on buying the 3 and 4, or at least the 2, 3, and 4 until a little bit later in the
Yeah,
project?
that's what I was.
Yeah, right.
Is there a call? Let's say we decide just to hold off until the end, and we then have this 5 page. We say, "Hey, okay." With outside of potential costs, normal cost of whether inflation or whatever, I wonder if that might be a reasonable way to go, and maybe it goes up a bit of 276, but I mean, there are things in here like one thing it says a broom. A broom? I'm sorry.
yeah,
$22. People can buy a broom. We don't have to buy a broom for someone. That to me, that's, and if we got to remember this goes out to the public, and they're going to see in there that we're buying a broom for $22.
Or a shredder
Okay.
for $750 when you can go to
Yeah,
State
another one was a shredder.
for $100.
It just, I'm
yeah,
concerned
I
about
think some of
what we're doing here.
I think some of these things, especially in categories like, say, musical instruments, for example, they could put that package together, but hold off on putting it out to bid. But at least we have the package there ready to go when you're ready to put it out to bid.
And I'm not saying anything against the band because my kids, 3 of them were in the band.
Yeah,
and
and sometimes
I was a band member carrying things onto the field with flags and all kinds of things like that.
So my only concern with holding back any part of the package is that it means we will have to do the bid process twice. And that means putting an advertisement out again, putting the bid package back out again, us going back and then reevaluating everything. The only way we can avoid doing that is if the total amount of the package is under $100,000, which obviously we know based on the priorities that we're talking about here, it's not going to be. The other thing that we can do is just price it with part of this package, and it doesn't mean you have to buy what's in there. It just means that we're getting the pricing to add, information to kind of what this total looks like.
Do you do add alternates?
Yeah, we asked, so basically anything that is bid, we put or equal after it for just for the bid portion. So
No,
all of those
no.
equipment items.
When we do bidding before in bids for various, Lynn, we've done bids for add alternate type of scenarios,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, I think what she's saying, this is a little bit different, Joe, in that she's saying put everything out to bid, and then at that point you can pick and choose what you want to finally purchase,
Right.
or not. But the thing with, I mean, and that gives you an idea of where you're at with all furniture, and I do like that. But chances are, if you don't know until much later after you receive bids whether or not you're going to pick it or not pick it, the bid may not be valid any longer.
Right.
So, which would push you to going out to bid again. So I think that you would need to know within a 30-day, and sometimes you can add it into the front end of the bid documents, hold the bid for 45 days, sometimes
Yeah.
60. I don't know if furniture people will do that or not, but you could buy as much time as you possibly can in the bid documents to give you time to decide whether or not you're going to purchase it or not. But I guess from Lauren's perspective, I understand that you really want to know all the pricing in order to make that decision for yourself. As to what you might want to hold back on or what you might want to add in.
If I could, I'm looking at my portion of this list, and I think, listening to the conversation and where we're at, I think I can pretty easily put like $32,000 back on the table here. If
No,
this
you don't,
piece-
Tim, you don't need to do anything like, we're talking about the overall thing. I'm not.
No,
here
no,
to-
I'm just saying this.
I'm not
there's
here to
some things
cut it,
that
cut
are
30,
nice
well,
to have
make
rather
it
than
50,
must
Tim.
have.
Then we'll
If
talk.
I'm honest and like putting effort into the energy, I wanna get you everything you want.
No, I'm with
I
you,
know,
but there
I
are some
will
things
say-
that I can live
Yeah.
without,
Tim is like one of the only people who actually, well, no, I shouldn't say one of the only, but there's quite a lot of people who didn't go through the exercise of
Right.
prioritizing things, and it is like we're almost punishing the people who did the work by saying like, okay, but now you don't get those things. I'm not saying that's not what we're gonna do, but it is like part of this is just like some people, it's just like totally outside their scope to be like, okay, and now I'm gonna prioritize it.
Yeah, there's like 6 categories. It's 0. In other words, nobody had anything.
Agree,
Right.
agree,
one or
yeah,
that had a 2.
exactly,
everybody was-
exactly.
Was number 1. So
Yeah.
So
So
Lauren,
when
I
we
would,
place,
oh,
oh, go
sorry.
ahead, Amy.
Sorry, I'm driving and talking again. These meetings are always at a tough time for me. I apologize. So I would add to what Lauren is saying, like, again, I don't think that we've done the exercise with kind of a heavy hand, and that is a conversation that we could have individually to kind of say, this is the overall, but we're still looking to keep things on the table, as a contingency, right? So someone said, and I lost track of whose voice it was, putting it all out to bid, but then knowing that if we needed to take things off, I think we could drill down. I know we're picking Tim there. Could drill down on some.
Well, when it goes out to bid, that doesn't, it's just, the
Go back to the
process
table and do that last time because. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, when it goes out to bid, that just means they're gonna come back with a number. That doesn't mean that we're obligated to buy it.
No, so the way we write our general conditions basically states that the district can make decisions with kind of any discretion that they want, and they can purchase as much or as little as they want to. So really what we're doing is we're making sure that, there's due diligence that we're putting it out there. We have this large package of stuff that people are going to price. But at the end of the day, if we don't want to spend that additional 275, that we want to pull those priority things off, they can't change the pricing based on that. So they can't say, well, we thought we were going to get this, and now you've told us we're getting that, so we have to change what the price is, because it's clearly outlined in our general conditions. And that's what we just point to. And as Lynn said, we could even then say, I will say the MHEC dealers, who basically everyone who bids on it is an MHEC dealer, they're very good about holding the pricing too. So if we, go beyond that 30 days, because we're still talking about what are we going to pull off, what are we going to do, I've never had them come back to me and say, okay, now we have to bump up the pricing or we have to change the pricing. So I think that really we write the general conditions because we want the best interest of the town. We want the best interest of the district to be what the general conditions are protecting. From literally pricing to installation, that's what we are doing. So we write the general conditions in that way so that we can make informed decisions about the total cost that you all are spending on this package.
And we would have a real number.
We would have a real number, and that would include installation. It would include everything, because the way we also do it is we put the bid package and the CPP MHEC state contract package out at the same time. We ask them for them to be back at the same time. So we have the entire pricing package back at once. We're not just looking at the bid. We're literally looking at the overall cost of everything. So that way, if, the CPP portion comes back super low and something else is, a little bit higher, then we can, adjust based on that. We can look at it totally. And we look at it based on, here's where the number came back, here's what we budgeted, and here's the delta. So then you can see, how are we doing in all of these categories.
And if we do it that way, I'm going to have to ask Amy and Tim to go around and make sure people actually do make priority lists.
But I think we could do that now. I think we could
Mhm.
start. I think what Amy's saying is, like, we could do that process now. I mean, we have their lists. We put their lists out as they are. And then Amy goes back to them and says, okay, but you actually have to do this, and say, what's a 1 to 5, and, like, really don't just put a 1 or a none. And so then when we do get the pricing back, we can say, okay, let's go ahead and pull off all those things. Let's, save the bid forms. So then if you do want to use them for another time, you can go ahead and go out and price them, and you have all that information, but at least we have the pricing for us to all look at, and then say, okay, we're not going to purchase those lower priority items at this point.
Yeah, because because that is obviously our concern, that we're, our budget is double what it was. So I mean,
I get
we're
that.
looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I really do.
We
Yeah.
have to be conscious to the town that we're doing our due diligence here, and
I
not
completely
just rubber
understand that.
stamping.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I don't want you all to think that we're just kind of creating this budget and saying, who cares, because we're not. Believe me, we recognize the gravity of having this being as significantly over as we are. So that's why what we're trying to do is make it so that you can make the most informed decision by getting all that equipment pricing ahead of time, looking at where current costs are now, trying to get ahead of the tariffs, and then trying to create a strategy that's going to give you the most information to make the most informed choice, because we know you do answer to the town. It's not just about this group.
And there shouldn't be things like broom for $22. I mean,
I
that's
know.
terrible.
I mean, I mean, if there's, I think that the thing with this is as well is that we always struggle with providing pricing for equipment for folks to review, because of course, if you went onto Amazon, you can get a broom for like $5. But what happens is that what we're paying for is that not 97 Amazon boxes are showing up at the school, and we don't know what's in them, who they're for, and who's sorting through them, and who's distributing them. What that cost is associated with is the level of service that we get from a dealer who basically does all that work for you. They're getting the 97 Amazon boxes to their warehouse. They're sorting through them. They're labeling them. They're tagging them for where they have to go in the school. They're delivering them on a truck, and they're distributing them, where they need to go. So I know when you look at like a $22 versus like a $5, it's like, why is it this difference? But it's really because of the service that we're getting from our dealers that we work with.
It's not the service. It's the product that I find that
Yeah,
someone shouldn't have put it on the
I
list.
know that one is, yeah.
That
I
should
get
not have
that,
been on the
believe me.
list.
I know.
Why it's a lower priority. So
It was
Lauren,
only a 2.
yeah, I know. I
That's
guess I
what
could
he
do
warned
without
me.
it. I know. So Lauren, at what point would the pricing be available for this, like sort of next, this other decision-making point when we
So
have the
let
numbers
me,
back?
I just had, sorry, they updated my computer and now my computer locks after like 2 seconds and it drives me crazy. So give me 1 second so I can just kind of re-go through that schedule. I have it pulled up already. All right, so based on what we're targeting in terms of timing, the package for pricing would be going out at the beginning of January.
Okay.
So the first 3 weeks of January is what we would be using as our pricing period. We would get that back basically then that, that third week, and we normally have about 2 weeks to evaluate all of that. And then we would share that information with you all in the last week of January. So then we would look and say, okay, here's where we are. Are we ready to, go to the whole committee and say we're ready to approve this? And that we were targeting happening the first week of February, with purchase orders being issued the second week of February. And that would basically give us the time that we need for production of furniture, especially has longer lead times in terms of production. Not that it's going to take 6 months for things to be produced, but just in terms of them putting in the orders. We then do a second check and ask them to send us the acknowledgements so that we can relook over everything. But that is the timing that we're talking about. So really the second week of February is when we're hoping for this to be basically like buttoned up and contracts are in hands of dealers.
And then also just to like give context to, that's 4 more months of construction, right? So that means 4 more months of cost certainty to really understand what our true contingency is gonna be, to maybe feel more or less comfortable with, tapping into that for any overages. So I think that buys us some time, and I think that's a great plan to, go back and engage folks and have them really put a priority to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so really what you're asking us is to ask the full committee for permission for you to go, just have this go out to bid, correct?
Pretty much. I mean, we don't.
Not to buy, but to go out to bid.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the power to just get pricing back and go purchase it. You know this. So we're always we have to go back to you and say, here's where we landed, and are we ready to proceed? And then we give you what our award recommendation would be. And so if there are folks who they came in and we only are giving them a portion of the equipment package, then we'll put all of that together for their award notice. So really what we are asking is that we just get to move forward and price everything. That's really where we're at. And then really the decision of we're gonna, approve this cost of the FF&E package would have to happen in the beginning of the new year.
That'd be somewhere around February,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it sounds like it does make sense to do that second round, as Amy put it, more heavy-handed request to department heads to revisit their lists and, take another swing at priorities.
Broom is number 2. No.
But that won't impede you, right, Lauren? You're going to
It
go
will
with
not.
the full list. We know what the priorities are now. And just talking about getting an update on them, correct?
Yeah. So we would basically we would keep everything on the list when we put it out to bid. And then what we would probably just do is have the column already built into our forms so that when we go back and enter where the pricing actually came back at, we can just unhide that and see all the, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and we can just eliminate those if that's what the committee decides to do. We can hold back purchasing those things. But I think that as long as we have the permission to move forward, that's really what we need, is just that we're able to go out to bid and go out for pricing.
Any further questions or comments? Jason, Aaron, Chrissy?
Nope, I'm good.
So I just had a couple more questions for this group and
Well,
so.
before we do that, why don't we have a motion to recommend to the full committee
Oh, sure.
that Lauren be allowed to have this go out to bid?
So I will make a motion that Lauren is allowed to present this to the full PBC on Thursday so that she can go out to bid with it.
A
Any
second?
second?
A second.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Jason,
Yes,
Aaron,
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yeah,
Okay, it's unanimous. All right, sorry, Ellen. Go
No,
ahead.
not at all. Thank you for doing that. That's great. Thank you, committee.
Sure.
So the question of, we've been talking about the below the line central offices furniture. What action do we need to take on that? And I don't know, Lynn, where in the overall budget that furniture is sort of accounted for.
The only place we can put it is in the FF&E budget, so we would have to supplement it with contingency if we were going to purchase it through the
Okay,
budget.
okay, so we're showing it as a below the line, really for, I guess, MSBA purposes too, in terms of participation, right? But
Right,
it's still part of the same budget.
So what's
Correct.
the background on that again? MSBA doesn't cover for
District.
administrative office furniture, so it was excluded from their cost, but we missed it when we did our FF&E budget initially.
no, I think it was never included purposely because it's district offices. They do pay for the school administration offices and things like, that's part of a regular school's FF&E package, but
not the
the
district stuff.
district
Okay.
offices are, typically aren't necessarily always attached to a school.
So at SD, do we have those at SD though? In the design, in like the
We-
just so I understand, like the
No,
design
really,
progress.
we only had a
Yeah.
shell included because it was part of the bid.
Right. Okay.
And that
And
comes,
we carried a cost for them, but they were not included in like the 2,500 per student cost.
right, because
Right.
it's not part of the
Makes sense.
MSA reimbursables.
Correct.
And that came to $276,037, right?
Oh, I think that's
They're
coming down.
currently at 182 because
Oh.
WCAT was removed.
Yeah, originally there was some budget in there and you made us very aware, Joe, that was not to be included. So that
Oh,
came
okay,
out.
so that sheet then, I'm looking at the thing that came out October 9th.
Yeah,
The third page or fourth page, it was at 276, but that's now 180 something?
there's one more page, Joe, that gives the updated number, and the district offices alone are at 182.
Oh, there it is, 182.
Yeah.
So I would imagine we would want to price that with this exercise, right? So we have all the costs and all the numbers that we can communicate and make
Yeah.
decisions on.
That's important to do because this would be part of the MHEC portion, and those are sometimes tiered pricing. So the more product we can put in there together, the better the discounting is going to be. So to pull that out and do it separately, we're actually putting ourselves at a disadvantage in doing so.
So is this the district office, just for our own purposes? Is this all brand new? Is there anything coming over from the old office, like Tim's beaten up chair or something,
You're not giving Tim a beaten up chair.
You want to roll your chair
all-
over, Tim, to the new building?
I got myself a new chair recently.
Oh, is
won
it
it.
coming
It's
over?
not
We
really-
can deduct that right off of there, Tim.
It's a pretty good chair, Joe. I'll
Tim
take
is
it.
giving up a lot of stuff in this call.
I know,
know,
poor
it's-
more
Tim.
than willing
He's
to lay on the
regretting being
floor.
part of these meetings.
It's not fair, no.
Amy, could you have all the heads show up for these?
We are a service division. We are here to support the school, not take away from it. So,
Okay, so essentially, the district, for the most part, it's all
It's new.
all brand new stuff.
It's all new. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
And the other question I had was the next step, once all of the survey data is in and analyzed and Sapura knows exactly, which companies and finishes are available, is the actual choosing of colors and finishes that would be applied to said furniture. And I didn't know if, so we will work with a small group from including Amy. Amy and Tim definitely need to be involved. Tim O'Brien is going to speak to any durability concerns. And then maybe a couple of other, trusted folks that the school would like to engage so that, there's a bit of participation
Erin
there,
just
but we
raised her
didn't know.
hand.
And yes, that was the question.
Yeah.
Would you like to, if you would like to be part of that meeting, it's probably, I think Lauren, when we had Erin as a captive audience last week for
I
quite some
know.
time. She knows what's coming, but it would be it would be a commitment during the day to capture the folks from the school. And that's usually what, an hour and a half to 2 hour, depending how quickly decisions are being made. It's
Yeah.
a fun, really fun meeting.
It
if I may
is. Yeah,
say
we
so.
usually hold 2 hours. It's very rare it goes longer than that, but and just if this does impact folks right now, I'm holding November 11th to the 14th as days that could occur on. So yeah, just sometime in there with a kind of 2 hour time block is what we would be targeting.
Okay, make sure we all know about it, so if anybody else wants to, besides Erin, go.
Participate. Okay, Erin, definitely. Okay, great. And we'll let you all know, but
Yeah, just let us all know, that's all.
okay, okay, perfect. Yeah,
All right.
wanted to make you aware of that. Great. Okay. So for Thursday night, beyond the big picture, how much detail would you like Lauren to kind of go into with respect to FF&E?
Well, I think you should go over the process
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
for the whole committee and emphasize the fact that this is just going out to bid. That's not, everything's not being selected here now. And that we decided to have everything go out to bid, but we all, we obviously have questions about certain items just to begin with. But, and that the school is going to do some further prioritization of these items.
Okay.
So that we can then get to in February, this, I think this group is going to have to meet again before the full committee to go over this as well. I don't know what everybody else feels. I think it's more appropriate for us to take a look at it first.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then go to the full committee.
For the final vote. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
How long would you like Lauren to speak for? How many minutes does she have?
Well, usually, I like to have my meetings done in 20 minutes.
I
so
know
she
you
has to
do.
talk
That's why I'm
fast.
asking. So remember, we do also have the interiors color, which is, kind of connected to furniture, very connected, but that refresher, as we're calling it, and Isabel
Well,
has
how
been,
long is that going to be, Helen?
she was told she has 15 minutes, and I am
All right, so Lauren
continuing
will
to
have 15.
emphasize that.
Lauren
Okay.
will do 15 minutes as well.
If
Okay.
you need them all.
I don't want to give preference to either one.
Okay, that's fair. All right, and Lauren, I assume you'll have slides, so I don't know if it makes sense to get those to me to left field, or if you just
Okay.
would share directly from your
Oh, you can,
computer.
yeah, she can share, because we'll be at the police,
Okay.
at the public safety building.
Okay, yeah,
And we can
Yeah.
share, she can share it then there. I have the we generally configure it. Jason could figure it out. No,
We
no
have
one
the
else.
technology. We
You have the
Jason
can,
has the
technology.
technology. No, not
you can
we.
just join the Zoom there and share from your computer. So
Okay.
Okay, but
cool.
Lauren won't be in person. She'll be joining remotely, but I'll
That's
be
fine.
there in person, as will Isabel. So, okay, I will
Okay.
let Isabel know as well. But great, thank you so much.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
All right, I think that covered the next steps. And I don't know, any matters not anticipated, I don't think anybody. Nope, okay, so. I know we should meet sometime probably in January, February area, right? Somebody agree with that?
I think
Yeah.
once you have the numbers in hand, right? But, okay, so Stafura gets numbers and they have to vet them themselves.
Right.
So, but yes, we will need a meeting of this group.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, I don't think we need to meet to go over the survey, do we?
Oh, the sit test survey?
Yeah,
I can certainly share it with everyone. If you, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's up to you.
Unless you're planning on affecting what the survey says. I would say it would
well, it
probably be
depends
more
if that bouncy
information.
chair for the students, I'm gonna vote against that one.
Students pick,
You kidding me?
Joe. Students pick.
I must fell off the damn thing.
I will tell you, the students will pick, but only if Amy says they're okay.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Amy gets final word, so.
You
And
get,
Tim.
I'll talk to Amy later about that.
He's
It's up-
gonna,
it's up to Amy.
he's gonna wear me down. It's gonna be a problem, but we'll figure it out.
Villanova grads do not bounce in their chairs, okay?
Yes, okay, I got you.
So, Lauren, maybe just and if this group agrees, maybe just a summary, hey, this
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
our survey showed, and
Yeah.
this is the direction we're taking. and-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we can
I
do
think
that.
that'd be great. Just to
Yeah.
submit a test, and then if for some reason people want to meet, we could, but I don't think it's probably gonna be necessary, but,
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we can
okay.
absolutely
Alright.
share that so that you have it.
okay.
Right.
And then we probably, as I say, the next time we'll meet, it will be sometime in late January, February, whatever, when the numbers are all coming in.
And then I will just say as well, we also share with you the finished selections with swatches on the presentation and then the palettes on the presentation. So then you also have that for record. So even if we don't review it as a whole group, it will still end up in your in your inbox so that you can see it.
Okay,
So Joe,
And we-
the only stipulation is the technology piece. I don't know if that's what
Yeah.
you were gonna say,
well,
Tim Baker.
oh, yeah.
So
That's
that,
what I was gonna ask, yes.
yeah, that process is really just ramping up now. So
Okay.
this group will need probably at least a meeting sometime before the end of the year, but I don't quite have that
Okay,
suggestion for you. So it's just if you think you're getting the rest of the year off, the answer is no, not quite.
all right, no, that's good, I completely, yeah.
We
We're just
forgot.
gonna have
Yeah.
Jason figure it out anyway, so
That's
what the
what
hell,
I'm
I don't
excited
know.
about. Bring on the.
Yeah,
technology.
this is his ballywick here. I'm all excited.
Oh, it all
Yeah.
becomes clear, the makeup of
He'd
this
be
group.
jumping up and
Okay.
down in that chair.
As long as I can sit on a chair and not fall off, I'll be all right. If the wireless isn't working, I'm gonna be a little upset, so.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, we
Yeah.
know where your priorities are.
There you go.
Excellent. Okay,
Okay.
great. Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
Anything else, anybody?
No, this is
Thanks a lot. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
Bob.
Thank all.
Thank you, you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
To adjourn,
you.
everybody adjourn. That's it.
Good Thursday,
Bye-bye.
Joe. Bye, guys.